Hello, this is Victor and here with a new Age of Sigmar battle report. This time is the second game in the small tournament that we did in the local games workshop in Brussels, and we keep playing over my Stormcast Eternals and allied with Sylvaneth against Tom Kings and Chaos. And first of all, a special thanks to Dieter, and all the elves are black. For the pictures, as I explained, I forgot my memory card in my camera, so they take the pictures for me and I'm using them to do the battle report. Let's go first to the list. I was using Lord Castellar, a Knight Venator, 5 Retributors and 5 Judicators. And the Sylvaneth army was composed by a Sorcerer, 5 Wolves, 20 Dryads and a Treeman. Our opponents, so the Tom Kings were led by Setra, 1 Lich Priest, 3 Necropolis Knights and 3 Skeleton Chariots. And the Chaos were led by a Sorcerer with 20 Warriors of Chaos, 5 Chaos Knights and 1 Gore Beast Chariot. Let's go to the deployment and explain a little bit the mission. So the deployment was in diagonal, and this time the mission is you get points by killing enemy units, and if any of the generals of the armies are killing an enemy unit, they get double points. So our general from our side is the Lord Castellan and the Sorcerer level 1, so the Sorcerer I don't expect to do too much. From the other side, the general is Setra and the Sorcerer as well. Here we see the deployment. They deployed in one side the Chaos Warriors with the Chaos Knights and the Sorcerer. In the middle they have the Chariots, and the opposite flank they have the Necropolis Knights. And from our side we put in one flank inside of the forest the Dryads, backed up by the Treemen and the Wolves. I put my Judicators in the middle together with the Knight Venator and the Sorcerer. And on the other side of the terrain, I put the Retributors with the Lord Castellan. Both terrains that we are considered dangerous, so if you assault through this terrain or you run through this terrain, if you roll a 1, you lose the miniature. The other terrains, they have a big influence in the battle. So we were trying to use the terrain to protect us from the assaults, trying to maximize as much as possible the shooting, as we have shooting and our enemies don't have shooting. And yeah, and let's see how the battle goes. So the idea is just try to hold and shoot as much as possible, and then use the units of Retributors and the Treeman to go into the close combat. The Dryads are there to avoid that the Treeman is charged easily. Here we have the Dryads, and also we try to use the forest to see if in case they are assaulted, if the enemy is losing some miniatures. And here we see again the deployment from our side and ready to start the battle. We go into the turn 1. Again, our opponents had the initiative as happened in the game 1, so Tom Kings and Chaos start moving. And from this side they move very aggressively to our lines. The Chariots and the Knights, they move and they run, and yeah, and the Knights of Chaos, they have the ability that they can run and charge. Here we see another close-up from that side, and the Chaos army closing the gap very rapidly, very fast. In the middle they were not as fast as they were with the Chaos Knights, but you can see in the assault they reach the Dryads with the Chaos Knights. On the other flanks they also move quite aggressively to be ready to assault in the turn 2. Looks like the battle is going very fast with assault of the Chaos Knights. They didn't lose any knight in the assault with the due to the dangerous terrain. So they do the attacks, they kill a big bunch of Dryads. The Dryads completely flop the attacks against the Knights, because the Knights have no armor too, because they are in a forest, they are in a terrain. So, and then with the battle shock, all the Dryads, the 20 Dryads, were completely obliterated in just one round of combat. So we go into our first turn. We decide to move the wolf to protect this flank, and also to move the 3-man, try to engage with the Chaos Knights. The idea is try to assault without touching the wood, in the way that the 3-man is not in danger to die because of the dangerous terrain. And here is another view of how it's looking like after our movement. Another overview of the battlefield. And yeah, and this is also, you see the Judicators in the middle. We will try to do some shooting with the Judicators. I think I managed to scratch within the Judicators, and the Knight Venator I managed to scratch 4 wounds to the Gorbis chariot. So after the shooting, the 3-man assault on the knights as well as the wolves, and they get all stuck in combat, and really not too much damage from any of the 2 sides. As you can see on the other flank, I just decided to back up a little bit to see if I can keep some distance, although yeah, I know that they can move very fast. So I just want to hold and don't make an easy charge. Maybe this was a mistake, because being in the terrain was forcing them to do dangerous terrain. But at the end, yeah, the possibilities are not that big, and I just decided to move back. And this is how it's looking like in that flank. So you see, I forgot to mention that in the turn 1, they managed to put another Necropolis Knight with the Lich Priest. The Lich Priest is completely hidden, so I couldn't shoot at him. And yeah, and it's looking quite difficult, because we lost 1 unit, we get stuck in 1 flank, and this other flank I don't think the Retributors can hold against all these enemies. So we go into the turn 2. And yeah, and as expected, all the opponent army just move very aggressively to the front. The Necropolis Knights move in front of the Judicators, ready to be able to solve the Judicators or the Retributors. I try to protect my characters behind the Judicators and behind the Retributors to avoid that they get easily engaged in combat. The chariots are also in the middle, and then the knights, the Chaos warriors just move to engage with the 3-men and the wolves. Here we have another view, and you can see that we are really pressed to our deployment zone, and this is going to make us difficult to maneuver, and I don't think we are in a very good position at the moment. And yeah, and the Chaos warriors managed to assault on the wolves. So here we have a big melee combat between the 3-man, the wolf, against the 2 units of Chaos. And in the other flank, the Necropolis Knights charge on the Retributors, and I miscalculate the positioning of the Knight Venator, and he also get engaged in close combat with the Necropolis Knights. So the Necropolis Knights were completely devastating against the Retributors, and they managed to kill 5 Retributors in just 1 round of combat. Between the mortal wounds they made with the poison and some other things, and things that the Cetra is there and is boosting them is boosting the rolls to hit and the rolls to wound. 5 Retributors completely eliminated. I was a little bit surprised, because the Retributors were 3+ armor safe at the moment, and yeah, I think I was a little bit unlucky there. In principle, statistically, they should not be able to completely kill all the Retributors. At the other flank, everybody gets stuck in combat. I don't know if they kill some wolves. I think they kill 1 or 2 wolves. But at the end, everything gets stuck in combat. I think we kill 1 of the knights, Chaos Knights, but nothing else. And yeah, some wounds on the 1 or 2 wounds on the 3-men. So this flank at least is holding, but the other flank is completely being destroyed. And we went to our second turn. So I decided that I don't want to suicide, or at least not easily suicide, the Knight Venator, just leaving him in combat with the Necropolis Knights. So I decided to fly with him over the Necropolis Knights and see if I'm forced to charge him, because I just moved behind the enemy lines. I cannot shoot because I just disengaged from a combat, but at the end I will force him to move and try to not focus all the attacks in one point. See if I can gain time for the rest of the army and see if the Treeman can do some more damage. In the middle of the battle, the Judicators and stay in position, and I just move the Lord Castellan behind the Judicators to avoid that he can be easily charged. So I make a barrier with the Judicators and put the Castellan behind, trying to protect the Castellan and the Sorcerer with the Judicators. Although we are just winning turns, because I don't think Judicators can hold against all the enemies that are coming. Here we see how how Chaos and Tompkins are pressing very hard on our armies. And in the middle, the chariots still didn't get into combat, but they will come into combat next turn, so not a lot we can do here. And we go into the turn 3 and 4. This battle has been very fast. I think we get in close combat too fast, and we didn't manage to do well in the close. So, as you can see here, they start closing the gap against us. This is just after the movement of all the Chaos and Tom Kings. They managed to put another Necropolis Knight, so there are 5 now. This is making really the life very hard here. I think they create 2 Necropolis Knights from the beginning. We have managed to do a single wound to them, and now the Judicators are completely dumb. They are the same as the Lord Castellan and the Sorcerer. In the previous turn, the Judicators tried to kill the Gorbis chariot, but they didn't manage to do so. So now they are going to be charged. They are going to be multi-charged by all these units. Here we see how they are closing the gap and how our last stand there it's completely overwhelmed. And Cetra decided to go to kill the Knight Venator, so he just moved to the flank where the Knight Venator was flying and tried to engage with him and kill him. And at this point, the wolf were still in combat. The wolf and the Treeman is the only part that at the moment is holding, but once the rest of the flank is destroyed, they will have a lot of reinforcements in that point. And this is what happened at the end. So they completely crushed the Judicators and the Sorcerer in one turn. Then in our turn 3, I decided to assault with the Lord Castellan on the chariot, on the Beast chariot. I killed the Lord Castellan, but then the Lord Castellan was completely destroyed by the rest of the units. Just the Necropolis Knight destroyed completely Lord Castellan. At least we killed 1 unit from the enemy. And in that flank, the Sorcerer arrived into close combat. He used the staff to do a lot of wounds on the wolves. And then, our last miniature in dying was the Treeman, but he couldn't hold against all the knights and all the Chaos Warriors. They were doing wound turn after turn. We couldn't heal any of the wounds, and at the end the Treeman ended up dying. Here's another picture how they completely overran this flank and destroyed our last units. And here you see how this is when the Lord Castellan killed the Gorbis chariot, and then he was killed because once I tried to assault, there was no way that I cannot be within 3 inches of all the rest of the units. So the rest of the unit just did all the attacks on the Lord Castellan and killed him. And this is the last stand of the Treemen after the wolf were killed, and all them went into close combat, including the Sorcerer. The Treemen completely surrounded. You see that we did a lot of damage to the Warriors of Chaos, but at the end, yeah, the Tree-man couldn't resist all the wounds that he was receiving. Of course, a big victory for the Tompkins and Chaos. We were completely obliterated on this battle. Was a tough army. I think the Necropolis Knights are very strong, are difficult to deal with, especially if they assault you, and they are quite fast. Especially if with Cetra you use the power to give them double movement, and yeah, and Cetra is also quite miniature difficult to deal with. So I was a little bit unhappy with the result, but at the end we go there to get fun, and this is the moment, no? So far in this mini tournament we had one big victory and one big defeat, but yeah, it's going well and we're getting fun on that. Yeah, and please don't forget to comment, like if you like it, and if you want to support this channel, you should know that I have a Patreon. I open a Patreon account, so you can support the channel if you want to support it. No obligation, of course, on that, and I will keep pushing videos as hard as I can, so the Patreon will not dictate anything in this channel. It's just a way for me to have some funding, to get better equipment, and to keep improving. And as usual, yeah, please like, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.